My name is Nicola Smith Jackson, and I want to welcome you to the Financial Freedom webinar. We are going to empower you financially and show you how you can build wealth as well as restore your credit score through the power of financial literacy. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a senior executive vice president with this company. We'll talk more about that, Financial Education Services. I didn't learn about this company because I wanted to learn about the phenomenal opportunity. We'll talk about that in a moment. It was because myself, even though my husband and I were people who considered successful, first generation to earn seven figures in our family, with all of that, money didn't come with instructions, and we still found ourselves with a $50,000 tax lien on our credit report. Now, I want you to put the pen there because in case you don't understand that credit is power, it is. Because if you don't have good credit, you will find yourself powerless in America. And that's what happened to me. I was smack dab in the middle of a home equity line of credit being approved. They gave me a pre-approval. That's before they give you the money. And then I ended up with that $50,000 tax on my credit report and went from the lowest score of a 760 to a 580 overnight. Well, all I can tell you is that they definitely took away that pre-approval and turned it into a denial. I was not approved for that home equity line of credit. The company I'm going to share with you not only changed my life, but it saved my life and my finances and my family. And it can do a lot for the same thing for people like you out there. The end of the story is, yes, I was paying my taxes, but I need you guys to know that if you don't know the law, if you don't know your rights, and you don't know where to go to when you find yourself in financial trouble, things can fall apart. But I didn't. I found Financial Education Services, and I'm going to share with you about the end of the story. I want you to stay tuned. Today you're going to learn how you can now position yourself with the best interest rates available for future purchases. I know a lot of people are wondering how to do that. Less than perfect credit is a huge, huge situation here in America. We're also going to talk about how to pay off debt that keeps you from going from paycheck to paycheck, how you can build a big business from home that doesn't have to interfere with what you have going on now. I'm actually doing this from my home, not my home office. My home office is anywhere I want to be in the house. We're also going to talk about how you're going to put yourself in a position for your family to have a lasting future and legacy. Super, super important. What we do is we strengthen your financial life, starting with your future, giving you stability and also a real opportunity. Before we go into the nitty gritty, I want you to know where we are in America when it comes to our mindset and our personal financial affairs. There are 43 million people out here with 599 credit score or less. So what you can do is just take the mask off, right? In case you're wondering, do anyone know your business? The stats has already told us all of the business. 43 million people have a 599 credit score or lower. More than half of Americans don't know what their credit score is. The average debt load in America is $225,000, with many people having less than $500 left over in savings after paying all of their bills. What would it be? I want you to just imagine yourself being able to stroke a check at the beginning of the month for all of your bills and still have plenty of money left over. What would that do for you? I know that would make you super happy, but did you know that nearly 2/3 of Americans can't even pass a financial literacy test? I would have been one of them. Just because you earn money, just because you have degrees, don't mean that you understand financial literacy. They don't teach it to us in schools, right? And so guess what? I can tell you this also. With that being said, most people are not thinking about a day that they hope are going to come, a great retirement. Nearly half of Americans have no retirement, and only 18% of them are on track to reach their income goals for retirement. So many people, after they retire, they have to go back to work. That's not what they wanted to do, but they didn't have the right calculations. Did you know that they say that millennials, for those of you listening on, you're going to need about $2 million at retirement. So how are you going to earn that kind of money? Another huge stat is that 65% people have no will, 82% no trust, 71% no medical or financial power of attorney. Super, super important documents that every family deserve. You don't want to work hard, even if you want to go ahead and get your new car, your new home, and we show you how to do that with the lowest interest rates, and then turn around if something happened to you, God forbid, that now a judge, a probate judge, have to decide where and when your family get access to your assets. And did you know this last stat is just astonishing? Every 2 seconds, an identity is stolen. An identity is stolen. I can tell you right now, there are some people that may have less than perfect credit, and you think no one can do anything with your identity. That's totally untrue. They'll figure something out. They may not be able to go buy a house or car, but there are a lot of other things that can be done. There are some horrific stories. You can go and Google them of people whose identity have been stolen and don't know how to get their life back. And so we want to share with you here with Financial Education Services about what school didn't teach you, about what the banks don't want you to know. And we're going to talk about finances, ownership, financial freedom, and more importantly, how to be successful. Now, if that's you, you want to definitely make sure you get a pen and paper and start writing some things down, because the person that sent you to this information, they're going to want to talk to you right after. You're going to have to touch base with them and make sure you have your questions answered before we get you started in this phenomenal service or opportunity. So let's talk a little bit about who we are as Financial Education Services. First, we were founded in about 2004, 15 years, strong business, headquartered in Farmington Hills, Michigan, A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, continue to grow over 100% annually, a debt-free company, and Mr. Mike Toloff and Paramount Nayak are the same key executives since the company's inception. As a matter of fact, together they have over 30 years of financial services and IT experience. Super, super strong. And if you pay attention to when we were born, our company, I need you to know that we survived the financial storm and came out still debt-free. Very, very, very stable when we're talking about a company. What they did is they put together a protection plan membership. Now, this is a huge, huge opportunity for you to subscribe to a membership that emphasizes on credit, but also protects you, your family, your finances, your lifestyle, the way you live, your future, and also now will give you peace of mind. So let's talk about what's inside the protection plan membership. You're going to get credit education. We're going to show you how to build the credit with Credit Builder. The credit attorney, that was the one that saved my life. I can tell you right now, before, of course, they got those that tax lien deleted from my credit report, the credit attorney is who told me exactly what to do and what I needed to gather for my truth. What was that? First and foremost, that tax lien should have never gone on my credit report. I was paying my taxes. They actually were garnishing one of my rental properties for 3.5 years, $1,200 a month, and they were allocating it to someone else's account. Well, guess what? No one wanted to hear me until I did exactly what the credit attorney told me to do. Smart credit. That's for you to monitor your credit. I didn't know there was a $50,000 tax lien on my credit report unless I had gotten an alert. You don't want to be the last to know when you go and apply for a home or car that something's on your credit report or your identity has been stolen. You're going to know real time exactly what's happening on your credit, and as well as you'll be able to monitor as we are removing those negative items. Debt zero, we'll talk about that in a moment, but you don't want debt. You've got to have some type of way to get your debt under control or to start controlling you. We also want to control your identity, protect your identity with LifeLock, financial lockbox to organize all your financial stuff, right? Something happens to you, no one has to go and like looking under your bed and all this stuff. They can literally now be able to get an email from a cloud, can never be destroyed, no matter if it's a storm or what have you, exactly where your finances are and what you need them to do with it. You'll get life insurance, that's for qualified agents only. Also, you get discounts on travel. The MyCare plan is a will, trust, power of attorney. You go buying houses and cars, we need to protect that. We need to make sure if something happens to you, even your children, exactly where they should go. Should you not make it home one day? You need the will, trust, power of attorney. It's not just for wealthy. It's for you too. You get discounts on shopping and our family mint. Isn't that so powerful? We'll talk about where the source of this financial illiteracy comes from. And again, because we don't teach it in schools, we teach children how to manage their finances and make it a family thing, and also super discounts on prescription drugs. Now, you might not be on prescription drugs, but have you ever ended up with something where you might have needed antibiotic or you needed something else, and then it was like this huge bill that you weren't prepared for? Well, you'll be prepared for it, and our prescription card can go for your entire family. It doesn't matter if they're on our protection plan or not, but I can tell you this right now. You want to know more about credit. Why should this be important to you? Well, you need to know how your credit score is calculated. Most people believe that it has only to do with your payment history. 35% only has to do with your payment history. I need you to know, why is this important? The payment history might be your on-time payments or slow pays. It may be those tax liens, for me, foreclosures, evictions, medical bills, student loans, those type of things. It's just 35% of your score. But what about the other 65%? That has a lot to do with what score you have right now. Now, 30% is your capacity or your amount owed. A lot of times when it has to do with revolving debt, like credit cards and things like that, keep your balances at least 30% or under. I can tell you that if you're only using 30% or under, you will have a better score, especially in the area of that 30%, your capacity. The length of your credit. How long have you been able to pay as agreed? Some people go and have some other people, say repairing their credit, they wipe you clean. They're like, where have you been? You're 50 years old now. I need you to know, don't let anyone who is not licensed and certified to do what we are doing mess around with your credit. It's so important. But you need to know that the length of history, how long you've been able to pay on time, super important. So we're not recommending you go and close those credit cards they gave you in college. Okay, that's not what you want to do. You want to keep the length of history. This is huge. And then 10% is new credit. How many times you get an increase, or any time you get new credit, because one of the huge components of being able to get credit granted to you is your income. So when you get something new on your credit report, the creditor is going to lower the score for a little bit until about 6 months of on-time payments, then it may go back up. But you don't want to bombard your credit with new credit, especially a lot of increase. And then now 10% of types of credit used, whether installment loans or secured or unsecured debt. Super important that you are very educated on how your score is calculated and everything about credit, because it's affecting so much of your life. So I want to talk about these last little bit here of our financial literacy portion, 5 common myths about credit. Well, number one is huge. I don't know. I didn't used to know this, right? About credit agencies. Are they some type of governmental authority? After all, they're called credit bureaus. Guess what? This is the truth. Credit agencies, they have no legal authority at all. They're private businesses, and some of the owners don't even live in the United States, or not even U.S.-based businesses, some of them. But I need you to know this. They still get to affect you if you don't know what we're trying to teach you right now. And so you need to know they're private companies. And they do have to follow the law. Myth number 2, are these credit agencies required to keep derogatory or negative items on your credit report for 7 to 10 years? Well, you want to know, there's no law that the credit agencies have to report anything on you at all. But let me tell you what the law says. They are required to remove all derogatory or negative items. If it's late pays and charge-offs or things like that, consumer debt, they get 7 years. Public records, bankruptcies, tax liens, these are considered like public records, like I just shared. They get 10 years. But guess what? Plenty of times it's over 7 or 10 years and it's still on your credit, affecting you in a negative way. We can help you to get those items deleted. Now, the third myth is about information in the credit report. Is this illegal to have it altered or changed? Very, very good question. And I need you to know that everything we do is fair per the Fair Credit Reporting Act, or FICRA for short. There are federal and state laws that require that any items that are removed from your credit report, that if they're not 100% accurate, or they have not been verified in a timely manner, that they must be deleted from your credit report. It's almost like the Miranda rights. If someone was getting arrested, due process of law must occur in order for things to be legal on your credit report. Most times they didn't go through the full process before they even slapped it on your credit report, right? And then the fourth myth is about paying a past due debt. Does it remove it from your credit report? I know sometimes people wait for either big checks to come in the mail, maybe tax season or what have you, and say, I'm just going to pay these items off. Well, the bottom line is, even if you do pay that off, that doesn't necessarily take it off your credit report, because your payment history of that account is still going to be there. It's just going to say zero balance at the end of that credit report. But the question is, can this be changed? And the answer is absolutely it can. Absolutely it can. I can remember something on my credit report with my husband. We got a timeshare, and he didn't pay it, but I signed with him. That happened to you before? I signed with him, and I saw the 30-day late. I'm like, I didn't go 30-day late, but guess what? If you are a co-signer and they went 30-day late, you have to say, we went 30-day late. But it was deleted from my credit report as well. I am so grateful for United Credit. And then number 5 are about inquiries. Are they derogatory, and will it hurt your credit? Well, inquiries are anytime you want to apply for credit. And in the case of that, 1 or 2 may not be that bad, but more than that can hurt your score. You need to be the first person to know exactly what your score is before you apply for any new credit. You even want to know what's the percentage rate in your score range. So they're not pulling credits, giving you hard pulls and making it harder for you to bounce back. But I can tell you this, we can also help you in the case of inquiries. You want to ask the agent who works with you about that. If you have some excessive inquiries, we can also assist you there. And how are we doing all this? With the Fair Credit Reporting Act. It gives the right to every American to dispute or investigate any negative item on their credit report, and that's any inaccuracies, any errors, any obsolete items. It doesn't matter, late pays, foreclosure, bankruptcies, tax liens, short sales, medical bills. Any of these items can be removed from your credit profile or updated to reflect paid as agreed. These are some powerful keys, wasn't it? Hopefully this helped you out. If it did, you definitely want to go ahead and say, hey, I'm learning something. I can tell you this right now, we are going to teach you a lot, including how to leverage your legal rights to investigate or dispute any of these negative items. And so once you become a client with us, United Credit is going to go in and dispute all the negative items at one time. The only reason we're able to do that is our division is a 501c3. Only banks or credit unions or 501c3s are able to dispute all those negative items at one time. Out of those other companies, they can only do 2 to 5 items at a time, and they're not going to guarantee, like we are, we're not guaranteeing that you're going to have specific success in a specific amount of time. But typically, you will start seeing some results within your first 45 to 90 days. But if you want maximum results, commit to 4 to 6 months in our program. We have tons of people who've already gotten great results. We know we can do the same thing for you. So once you go and be a client, you're going to be able to see your credit score. This is the same score that you'll see if you went to go apply for a home. So we're going to turn over every stone and, again, dispute all those negative items at one time. This is one of the reasons we get the fastest results in the industry. You want to say, well, what makes you faster than other people, or what makes you better than other people? Well, here's a comparison table. There are some other companies, Lexington Law, very familiar, Sky Blue, creditrepair.com, and Credit Safe. What I can tell you, a lot of these companies end up coming to us, and we end up really giving them better results. Why? Again, we're the fastest in the industry. And I want you to know why other things, because we don't only deal with the negative items. We talked about that earlier. So Lexington Law, Sky Blue, creditrepair.com, and Credit Safe, they all have credit restoration. None of them have a will, trust, power of attorney. Very important. Credit monitoring, they may have it, but some of them are going to charge you a little bit more. If you see the red star, they're charging additional for that. Identity theft protection. You know, it's the worst thing to go working on your credit and someone else out there mess it up for you. So we want to protect your identity. A few of them will also charge you additional. Debt elimination. None of them are dealing with debt, but that's 30% of your score. Right? No wonder you've tried them before and the score is just moving so slow. And then now also none of them have an income opportunity. And so super, super powerful that once you put the mask on yourself, you could actually help someone else with our career opportunity. So what does it take to get yourself back on track? It's a one-time $99 activation fee and $89 a month for your subscription. Just $188 to get started. Way less money than what it's costing you to have your less than perfect credit. Way less money than you are able to compare it to what you're saving in interest rates with those high interest rates on the purchases. And so $188 to get started, $89 a month. Get with the person who invited you out, and they can answer any other particular questions specific pertaining to your account and get you started. I want to talk to you before we go into a huge portion of what we're discussing here tonight, these keys to financial freedom. I'm having a great time with you guys, and but I want to share something about the Youth Financial Literacy Program. You can go to yflfoundation.org and learn more about us. We go into the schools and we educate children from ages 8 to 18 on personal finance, where the problem started, right? We didn't learn about it. So we said, we're not going to just talk about it. We're going to be a solution. We're going to be part of the solution in America. $2 of our protection plan membership is donated to the YFL. These college scholarships, we have been increasing them every year. From 2016, we started at $100,000. And earlier here, 2018, we gave away $250,000. And in 2019, it has been announced we're giving away $350,000 to children who are going to learn about financial literacy. And guess what? Anyone you know that's a senior in high school or a freshman in college can apply. Get with the agent. You don't have to get your credit restored, or you don't have to get the protection plan to share this information. But obviously, if you believe in it, you're going to be getting started as well and help someone else, maybe in your family, maybe a neighbor, so that they can get a head start and get ahead of student loans. How? By not having it. So listen, you can also increase your score with some other services that we offer. Having a healthy credit profile is important. Strong trade lines are important. You need at least 3 accounts that report to all 3 of the credit agencies. And so I want you to think about, if you're a renter, use Credit My Rent. This will now actually add your monthly rental payments to your credit report. Your rent, or wherever you live, is many people, the largest portion of their income outgo. And so this is going to put you at an advantage with a lot of other renters, where you're able to even go back as far as 2 years. That will be considered a seasoned trade line if you're trying to buy a home or something of that effect. And so it can help you to really build your credit score like that. And so people are getting great results with Credit My Rent. Also, a secured credit card. If you don't have revolving credit, remember the 30% of your score. If you don't have any kind of revolving credit trade line, you want to consider our secured credit card, where you're able to back it with your own money. And instead of you swiping a debit card, you're not getting anything on your credit report if you're swiping your debit card. But the secured credit card, with a very low interest rate, only 11.9% right now, you can use that and start rebuilding your credit and have a very strong trade line on your credit report. So you can practice on how to pay on time with a secured card. So hopefully that helped you a lot. I know when I first heard this information, it did wonders for me. I'm like, where has this information been? Public knowledge. But no one is putting it forefront. And so you got some keys to financial freedom right now.